Hello, everyone. It is 1 o'clock p.m. CST, 2 p.m. EST, and 11 a.m. PST. I just wanted to thank everyone for joining me on today's webinar. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen with you and pull up the webinar itself, and then we will hop right into our discussion. So first things first, I just wanted to say I appreciate everyone taking, obviously, the opportunity to join me on this. And before I actually dive into the webinar, I want to ensure that everyone can see me, hear me, all that good stuff. So if you can, do me a favor and just write a message in the chat and let me know that you can hear me. Just say, yes, I can hear you. Yes. I'll wait for a couple people to write in there. Good, good, good. Just to make sure that everyone could hear me okay. Good, good, good. Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, so it's pretty apparent that everyone can hear me, so that is great to hear. Now, one last experiment here that I'm going to run is I just want to make sure when I do that, can you still see my screen? Can you still see the presentation? If so, please write in the chat. I just want to make sure that everything is good on that end when I go full screen. Yes, good. All right. So without further ado, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through the presentation with you guys. As mentioned in the emails, I am going to give you some tips about maximizing productivity and increasing your conversion rate. That's going to be toward the end, and it's going to be a last little subject just as a cherry on top type of thing. But the main emphasis of today's webinar is to discuss the 2019 web design trends you need to know. So we're quickly approaching 2019. Obviously, we're at the beginning of December 2018, and going into 2019 is going to be a big year for websites. If you're a small business owner, if you're any type of business owner, you need a website. It's that plain and simple. It's no longer like a maybe I should have a website type of thing. It's now or never. You need a website now, and you need to start building content and building traffic to that website because, as you all know, the world is going digital. And I wanted to make sure you were equipped with the proper knowledge and the proper trends that are happening in 2019 so you could set your website up for success. So without further ado, let me dive into it. So for anyone that doesn't know, my name is Michael Patrick Strouk, and I have the awesome opportunity of teaching you guys these new web design trends. Now, my one last thing before diving in is I just did present mode on Google Drive. So one last check. Can everyone see the present mode, how I'm in the presentation right now, right in the chat? I want to make sure this is all dealt with before we actually dive into it. Give you an opportunity to go ahead and write in the chat real quick. Yes, yes. Okay, good. Awesome. So I got my approval. Let's hop into it. So in today's webinar, we're going to discuss the web design trends. I'm going to talk about maximizing your productivity and increasing your conversion rate. And for anyone new to the community here, I own the Wix Training Academy, wixtrainingacademy.com, and Wix Training Academy on YouTube, where I provide Wix training tutorials for people looking to grow their website, build their first website, or improve their current website. And that's what I love to do. That's my passion. And that's why I am delivering these 2019 web design trends you need to know. So without further ado, let's hop right into our first trend, which is, well, first off, what you'll discover. So we'll discover the crucial web design trends heading into 19. We'll cover a step-by-step approach to ensure your website is prepared for the new year. So I'll give you tips on each new trend on what you can do to kind of maximize this and make sure you add it to the website. And then I'm going to discuss some powerful tactics to maximize your productivity and increase your conversion rates as we discussed. So trend number one is speed. So guys, going into 2019, not only is it an important requirement that you now have speed on your website, and not that you have a website going into 2019, but a fast website at that. Websites have been evolving over the past several years, and one of the things that was always a common place was speed. Speed typically was a little bit slower on older websites, older computers. And now that we've gotten to a point in technology where, everything is so fast, people are mobile, people are on the go, people want stuff at their fingertips, speed is so vital. And there's a couple different methods you could use to increase your website speed, such as using lighter fonts on your website. So what I mean by light and dark fonts is heavier fonts like bolded fonts, bulky text, bulky fonts, stuff like that. That stuff's going to take a little bit longer to load. Now, when we're talking about loading speed, these fonts in general, these might be microseconds worth. But guess what? Each little microsecond counts when you're trying to increase the speed of your website, especially because you have an average of 5 to 7 seconds to capture someone's attention on your website to get them to stay. That's the average attention span you have to grab someone and pull them in. So number one, your website's got to load mighty fast so that way it hits before that 5 to 7 second mark. Because if your website's loading anything over and above that, well, you're in trouble. You're going to start to lose people, and you're going to start to lose people quickly because your website hasn't even loaded in those 5 to 7 seconds, never mind caught their attention in those 5 to 7 seconds. So using lighter fonts is an example of a way to improve this. Making sure your images are compact but highest quality. So one of the best methods I could tell you in doing this is there's a lot of different file types for images. JPEG typically seems to be the most compressed, but still the highest quality while being a compressed file. So PNGs are typically one of your better file, like for graphics and so forth. It's typically one of your better file types and more quality, but JPEG serves the same exact purpose and can get the job done and still looks very professional without being such a bulky file. So that's another example of small things like that. Now, is that going to make or break the exact difference of the speed on your website? No, but is it going to help improve the speed of your website? Yes, because the back end doesn't have as much to load when loading your website. Another big one is making sure video is properly used. So one of the big things in 2019 is video. I mean, everybody has video. If you're online and you have an internet business or you have a small business, you should be utilizing video in some way, shape, or form. And if it's not video, you should be using podcasts. Content is king when it comes to the internet. And if you want to start seeing traffic to your website, these are important aspects. But they're important aspects up until the point where you have video and you have content on your website, but if it's not loading quick, it's not going to mean much. So what I mean by making sure video is properly used is make sure you have, once again, file types that are highest quality video, yet compressed. So another method for this could be using your YouTube videos and linking it straight into your website. Could be uploading it natively, so directly to your website and using MP4s, stuff like that, or movie files, anything like that. But you want to ensure that is properly used. Don't just scatter a whole bunch of videos on your website without some purpose behind it. Otherwise, video does take longer to load, and it will stall that loading process a little bit more if you don't properly use it and they're scattered everywhere. So that's what you want to avoid. You want to have purpose behind your videos. You want to have correct placement on your website, and you want it to be organized in a manner that it's not a whole bunch of compilations of videos. It's very organized, very straightforward, so that way it'll help your website load quicker. And guys, my biggest tip for you on this is to make sure your speed is up to par and up to compliance. Just go to Google Speed Test and you could type in your website URL and it'll test the speed of your website, and it'll even give you spit out a little analysis and tell you where it is in the scope of websites on the internet. And if it says good, great, anything above, that's awesome. If you're at average or you're at poor, start looking at some of these different methods to start speeding up your website. And but like I said, if you're at good, great, above, anything like that, you're set, you're solid. So that's trend number 1. Trend number 2, guys and girls, this is so important. Mobile before anything. Just in this past 2-year span, mobile searches have started to surpass laptop, tablets on edge, but laptop and desktop searches on Google. Mobile before anything. You have to make sure your website is prepared for the mobile rush. Just take a second right now and think about how many times just in the past 24 hours that you went on Google on your phone and searched for something, or you went to Facebook and clicked on a link and that took you to a website, or any social media for that matter, and took you to a website. If you did any of those, then that website on that phone was mobile. Now, was it mobile ready? I don't know. I couldn't tell you what website you were going to, but that's a mobile search. Think about how many times you do that in a day, never mind a week, a month, a year. It's enormous. That number just continues to grow. It continues to expand. When you think about it, your phone is like a little computer in your hands, and people are neglecting mobile websites. Again, it's one thing to not have your mobile website completely up to par, up to snuff. You can change that. It's another thing to just completely neglect the fact that you don't have a mobile website. Any of you using Wix, you guys know I'm a Wix certified trainer, all that good stuff, Wix design expert. There is a mobile editor in the Wix editor. Use it. And Wix even made it to the point where it's got like a page optimizer. So it will literally optimize your page for mobile, for each page. And it makes it so simple. Another big thing is the quick contact options that I also have listed here in the slides. There's lots of options and plugins and widgets for this on other platforms rather than Wix, but Wix has built into the editor a mobile quick action bar. And what I mean by quick contact options is on mobile, people are typically, they're either purchasing, they're trying to purchase something, or they're trying to find a way to contact you or subscribe to you in some way, shape, or form. The other main method is they're trying to research your content. They're trying to learn more about your content, learn more about you. Those are the four main things, but contact, especially for small businesses, is a huge, huge component to a mobile website. You want to make sure that someone can land on your mobile website and have the option to either email you, call you, text you, Zoom you, whatever that may be, very quickly, just right up front. And using the Wix mobile action bar, highly recommended. Highly, highly recommended because it allows you to do that. The other thing you want to start doing is converting on mobile. So everyone's so used to building landing pages and websites that convert traffic well and have a great design laid out for desktops and laptops. But guess what? The world's moving mobile. So you need to make sure your mobile landing pages and your mobile websites can also convert people. What I mean by convert people, and this is another conversion tip right here to increase your conversions, is to increase your conversion rate. So from the number of people that come to your website to the number of people that subscribe to your website in some way, shape, or form. So whether that's opting in for a free ebook, a free report, subscribing to your email list, maybe subscribing to your blog, you need to make this very quick, simplistic for the mobile user. You want it to be right up front. You want it to be very easy. All they have to do is press the form field, type in their email, and press submit, or whatever other form fields you're collecting. You want to make that very evident, very quick, very easy. Should be on the home page, should be front and center, above the fold, if you will, just like you would on a laptop or desktop. But the funny thing here is, guys, the reason I put this in is because I'll go to tons of mobile sites that I'll just come across, and none of them well, first off, a good percentage of them won't even be mobile optimized. And then from the ones that are mobile optimized, a good portion of them don't have their normal conversion tactic right up front like they do on their desktop site, and they're killing their conversion rate. Mobile is surpassing. You need to make sure you're up to par with mobile before you even consider tweaking and changing things on desktop. You got to make sure that's done first, because that is the future. People are mobile searching. That's how it's going to happen. And, you know, websites will progressively get better on phones as we continue to evolve in technology for the future to come. But 2019 is going to be a huge mobile year. The last thing in the mobile trend is simplicity. Just keep your mobile website simplistic. Give the user the information they need to know and nothing more than that, and give them the options to contact you and convert on your website. Don't get all flashy and crazy on mobile. It gets a little complex. The screen's not all that big. There's not a ton of space to work with. So again, trend number 2, mobile before anything. Let's move on to trend number 3. Using shapes. So before we dive into this, guys, you've probably already started to see this trend happen a little bit, because it's happened more in the second part of 2018, and it's going to continue to expand itself in 2019. So this is more of a design trend. Some of these other ones have been both design and also technical trends. But using shapes, this is a nice little design trend, and I gave you an example image here to show you what this kind of looks like. So you're going to start seeing a lot more faded, opaque, or faded shapes, different style of shapes. So this website in particular uses triangles, and you can see how they use different color techniques between shading and also lightening the color and darkening the color to add an effect that's very visually appealing. So this is a well done use of shapes. There's not a ton I want to go into about using shapes in Trend 3, other than the fact that if you can start finding ways to incorporate shapes in a disruptive, unconventional type of way. So you'll notice a lot of new websites. This is a very uniform set of shapes, but you can see it's still almost a little disruptive, unorganized in a way. It's like not all shapes are going straight up and down. So not all the triangles here are literally going straight up and down. There's different style and coloring and different angles and shapes to each of these triangles. So if you can start finding a way to utilize shapes like that in your website to add a design appeal, to add an extra touch and oomph to your website, start utilizing it. It's a big trend going into 2019. This is one of the more minimal ones, but it's still something I wanted you to be aware of, because if you can utilize shapes, then utilize them. Trend number 4. Okay, guys, so this is video background. So I'm actually going to play the video here for you just so you can see the example, and then I'll discuss it real quick. I just want to show you the example of video backgrounds and how it works. You can see they do a very good job here of, 1, high quality videos, but 2, incorporating it into the background of their website. I'll let it keep playing just a little bit longer here. I thought they did such a great job that I had to show you guys the example. Okay, so that's an example of video backgrounds. So video backgrounds have, again, started to become a big thing in the end of 2018 here. 2019, big, bold videos like that with a simplistic homepage look like this one, where it's literally just got the hidden worlds of the national parks, a little line of text, and a button with a huge video background, is going to be massive. If you could find a way to incorporate video, because again, what is one of the big things going into 2019? Video. Find a way to start incorporating video into your business if you haven't already. So these big, bold backgrounds are fantastic ways to capture someone's attention fairly quickly, because as we discussed, you have about 5 to 7 seconds to go ahead and capture someone's attention. So if you can get a video going automatically in the background in a big format like that, you're going to grab someone's attention at least enough to be intrigued by what the video is. And then once you get them there, as long as your video is intriguing, in fact, this video right here, more of a scenery type video, which is fine because it was very, one, high quality, and two, it was intriguing. It kept you wanting to see more. You know, you're curious to see what the next part of the video is going to be. So as far as utilizing video, typically what you want to use as far as the video for a video background is you don't want a video of you talking. You don't want a video of you, you know, maybe not even a video of you in front of the camera. You kind of want to use a scenery type, background type video. So maybe that's people working in an office, or maybe that's, in this case, nature. Maybe that's a photo shoot, or somebody skateboarding, or somebody surfing. You want to use these type of more abstract videos rather than a direct video of you talking, because since it's a background video, you're not going to hear the audio. So these are audio-free background videos. These are simply videos that are backgrounds. There's no audio to them. It's just appealing. It's just to draw you in. And I'm telling you, video backgrounds are going to be a massive thing. They already have started to become massive. And if you can do it in a way to where you capture that attention of your audience fairly quickly within those first 5 to 7 seconds, you can get them to keep going down your site and going through your site. And that's why they're so powerful. And that's why I would highly recommend you check this trend out for 2019. Moving forward, we have trend 5. Okay, guys, so this one out of all of them is probably one of the most important and future forward-thinking trends there are. So in 2019, the use of chatbots and machine learning is not only brand new, but it's also vital to maximizing your productivity, increasing your conversion rate, and also saving resources, time, money. Chatbots, one of the most popular companies out there running chatbots is Intercom. A lot of you have probably come across them. For any of you that watch my YouTube channel, I just made a video about adding an Intercom chatbot to your Wix website. Those are the little live chat features down in the bottom right, typically, of a website. And sometimes it'll automatically pop up with a message. It'll say it's from whoever the site owner is, or a representative of that website, and you can live chat straight through there. But what a lot of people don't understand is there's a fine line between the chat bot and human actual chat. So a lot of the chat bots that people use, there's still human interaction in there. Like, people still live chat. But chat bots have gotten to the point where they can utilize machine learning there and actually carry on a conversation with someone that comes to your website, all the way up until the point of capturing their email to increase your conversion rate, to get them to go over to a product, to view a product, and get them to possibly purchase a product. Chatbots are massively huge as far as 2019 goes. You're going to start seeing major trends with this. You're going to start seeing chatbots become more and more prevalent and be able to do more and more functions. Right now, Intercom has so many, up into the point where, I just gave a few examples, but like a chatbot, a literal chatbot, they built out a little software device. I don't want to call it a device because it's digital, a piece of software, SaaS software, that will carry on a conversation with your visitor up until the point where they either need a human interaction at that point, or to where they get them to take action on something. So this, above all of them, is something I would highly recommend to start implementing into your website. Again, Intercom chatbots are probably one of the better companies for the chatbots. I personally love them. They have so many features. I'm not even coming close to using probably 2% of the features they have available just because they go so complex, and it's insane the capabilities that the chatbots have. But this one above all of them, mainly because, one, it cuts down your time and usage of having to constantly live chat or answer contact form questions. Two, it saves you resources, so you don't have to have necessarily a person managing it either. You can manage it because it cuts down your time. And then three, it saves you money. I mean, if you think about time equaling money, then you ultimately save money in the fact that you pay, your monthly service fee for the use of, in this case, intercom, but chatbots in general to utilize them. But you ultimately save more time than you would be spending that money. So it all is ROI positive, and it's ROI positive in many different forms, just because it increases your conversion rates and it increases even your purchase rates. So these two things alone are huge components to utilizing chatbots and machine learning. So my little soapbox is over for that. What I'm telling you is, above all, this is the number one tool that will help you maximize your productivity going into 2019. Please, please, please utilize them if you haven't already. Okay, guys, so this is another kind of design type trend rather than technical trend. It's trend 6, and it's get colorful. One of the big things you're seeing, again, trailing 2018 here and starting into 2019, is websites have started to shy away from having one set kind of bland color scheme to get the job done into a much more colorful space. Just like society, as anyone follows and could understand, society has evolved and it's gotten a little bit more colorful. It's gotten a little bit more open. The same thing corresponds with websites. So as society has evolved, websites have evolved, and it has gotten more colorful. So if you can start finding ways to utilize bright, vibrant colors, oranges, yellows, bright blues, pinks, even bright reds, bright purples, these type of colors, just like this picture right here, I wanted to show you an example, then utilize them if they're available to you. Utilize them if they make sense. Utilize them if you could get them in there. And the other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is this website uses not only lots of color, but it utilizes another one of our trends that we just discussed, which was shapes. So you have a mix of bright colors and odd and abstract contrast shapes in here, and it draws your attention to it. It's like, as soon as you land on this website, you see a lot of color. Number one, color is appealing, especially bright colors. And then two, you see different shapes with different colors in them. So it draws your attention, it grabs you, and it's kind of exciting, actually. It's like, oh, okay, what's next on this website? What's coming after these colors? What's coming after these shapes? And that's why I would recommend to get colorful going into 2019. Trend 7, guys. This one's fairly easy, fairly simple. Taking a sip of water really fast. Minimalism. So I kind of talked about this with mobile websites, but it's starting to apply to desktop and laptop websites as well. People are in the age where they want to access the information they want to access as quick as possible. We live in a fast-paced world. So the easier we can make it to make that information available, and the quicker we can make it available, the more enjoyment your visitor will have. With that, you can see this example here. It's a very minimalistic approach to web design. You see the watch there. You see, just a few pieces of text. They've got good spacing in between them. They've got a good font. This is a darker style website, which, you can still utilize. Of course, I'm going to recommend you get bright, get vibrant with the right type of websites. If you own, a law firm, something like that, a doctor, well, maybe a doctor's office, but a law firm, more, those are establishments and businesses that you might not have as bright of colors. You might not have as bold right at you, just because they serve a different purpose. They set a different tone. Same thing could apply to like watches. This one is poetry, stuff like that. it just depends on the tone of your website. That's how you have to convey what colors and minimalism you want to use. If your tone is more eccentric and crazy, well, you might not have as much of a minimalistic approach and as dark of an approach. But if your website is a little bit more somber and clean, then you're going to have more of a minimalistic approach with a little darker type tones. So that's how the web design trends kind of work, and that's how this minimalistic approach works. If you could keep it minimalistic, you can start to get traffic coming through, understanding what your website is. So if you go for the minimalistic approach, make sure that each time you put a piece of text or each time you put a picture, it conveys a message. Since there's not going to be as much of it on your website, you need each one to make that much more of an impact. So the minimalistic approach is actually taking a little bit more of the creative approach in an aspect, because you have to get creative with what you are doing with your space and what does go in that space. And in that space, what does that convey? What message are you conveying with that space? So that's why minimalism is a big trend as our society gets a little bit more creative as well. Again, all of these things kind of follow through with society. It kind of mirrors society. As society evolves, websites evolve. It just makes sense because that's who's on the websites. So that's why minimalism is a good approach. Just make sure going into it, you understand that you are going to have to get a little bit more creative, and each little portion of your website is going to have to convey a message, because you're not going to have the whole thing filled with text explaining each and every aspect of either what you're doing in your business or what this website is about. So take minimalism with, with good care, and just understand that there's going to be more creative juices flowing with that one, but it will pay off, because as long as you can capture all the other trends we just talked about, plus hit a minimalistic approach, you're on track to having almost an ideal website, because you capture people's attention, you convert those people, you save resources and time with a chatbot, so you maximize your productivity, you increase your conversions, and then you have a very simple, clean website to make it easier for people to find things on your website. So that's a very big key here. And then finally, guys, the last trend I'm going to discuss for today is simple animations. So adding simple animations, what do I mean by this? Well, it could be as you scroll down a page, a piece of text lightly scrolls in, or a picture lightly scrolls in, or something fades out or fades in. This is what I mean by simple animations. And the reason I say this is because, one, it kind of corresponds with the minimalistic approach. So if you can have minimalistic animations that are simple and clean, you can follow suit with everything else we just talked about, plus the minimalism. And more importantly, what animations do is it's another form of attention grabbing. So you can keep people. So on your homepage, you're typically not going to have animation straight off the bat on your homepage. Some people might, and some may have good placement, but where animations are going to play a key and lucrative role in your website building process is retaining your user. So once you have a visitor captured, you grab their attention within those first 5 to 7 seconds. You have a very minimalistic, colorful, shape-filled approach, stuff like that. You got their attention. Now, how do you keep their attention? Well, you keep their attention by not making the rest of your website boring. One of the ways to not make the rest of your website boring and to keep it interesting is, one, utilize good content, utilize video, utilize pictures, tell a story, and then two, use animations to convey that story. Use it to, have the text come in at the right time, or have the video flow in or fade in at the right time. And that's how you capture a user and then retain your user. So this simple animations trend, it's been happening for quite a while now, but animations are getting a little bit more complex, meaning that you can, and I know that's a little bit ironic, especially since I just told you to have simple animations, but what I mean by that is keep your animations simplistic, so you don't have to go crazy having your website like put off fireworks or anything like that from the screen. Like that's not what you want to do. You want to keep your animations clean and simple. So what I mean is animations have gotten to the point where they've gotten I mean, they've gotten pretty complex in what they can do as far as functionality goes. So you want to utilize some of that functionality, but keep them clean, keep them transitioning well, and utilize it at the right time. Don't fill your website with animations, because that's the other side of the thing. If you go too far and you fill your website with animations and all your website is just a whole bunch of text scrolling and flying everywhere, that's not going to keep your user on. So you have to know when and when not to use animations. And the best way is to just have the rest of your website tell a story, use it for content that comes in, use it for like a nice fade in, fade out, clean approach to it. And that would be my recommendation for Trend 8 simple animations. Guys, finally, I talked about maximizing productivity and increasing your conversion rate. So the one thing I want to talk about is chatbots. I just told you about those, and then how they maximize your productivity. You know, I told you this. They save your time, they save your resources, they save your energy, and they just allow you to start converting better. Now, as far as conversion rates goes, guys, the best way to do this is through list building. Have something that's available on your website. You will see this time and time again. And going into 2019, it's more important than ever to have a free opt-in that stands out. So you'll see when you come onto websites, free ebooks, free reports, stuff like that. And a lot of these are still tested and true. They work. They capture someone's attention. They allow you to up your conversion rate. If you could provide someone a free piece of content or a free gift for opting into your list, you're going to increase your conversion rate. And that's one of the ways I would highly recommend doing that, along with some other psychological and design type elements on your website. But list building, my tip to increase your conversion rate is to think about a piece of content that you're in your business field, around the scope of your business, your industry, that you can create that will stand out. So whether that's having a better cover graphic image, having a different abstract piece of content, maybe it's a free video series, maybe it's a free audio series. You know, not many people have gotten into doing audio series yet or anything like that, because a lot of people have still written stuff. So they still have ebooks, they still have reports, they still have, just written pieces that people can collect as far as a free opt-in goes. Well, audio is also on the rise, as well as video. So maybe you do like a free 3-part series, audio series about a topic in your industry or something like that. That's my tip to optimize your conversion rate, to start getting that up. You need to build a list. Your list is your number one asset in your business. Without a list, you don't have potential leads. You don't have potential customers. You just, it's not there. You don't have it. So you need to make sure you start building a list. And to do that, you have to, especially in today's day and age where you're fighting for people's attention, you need to give someone something worthwhile to make them convert onto your list. Someone's not going to just voluntarily join your list if there's nothing to join your list for. You have to kind of tempt people into it. That's not the right word. I don't like the word tempt, but you have to offer an incentive for someone to actually join your list. And I see that time and time again with a lot of people I've discussed. They don't have that option. They don't have a free opt-in, which is why I wanted to include that in this 2019 web design trends you need to know. So guys, guess what? We have arrived at the end of our webinar. I hope you have found it useful. I hope you have found it helpful. If you did, at the end of the webinar, there's going to be a poll, and I would love if you would take that poll and just let me know how it goes. But before the end of this, I wanted to do something a little different for the webinar registrants, which was open up for about 5 minutes of Q&A. So with that said, does anybody have any questions whatsoever about anything we've just discussed? Okay, so we have a few questions in the chat. Feel free to ask your questions right now in the chat if you have any. I'm going to answer a couple of these real quick. So how do you Google speed test? So I discussed this. Just go to Google speed test. You could go ahead and it'll have you put in your website URL, and you could go ahead and then have that converted and get an analytics report about it. So Google will give you an analytics report. Is it possible to watch the webinar again? So guys, actually, yes, it is possible. So let me tell you the distinct difference here. I was also live streaming this webinar to YouTube. You are the ones that get to ask the questions here. So that's the benefit of being in the physical Zoom webinar with me, is the ability to ask questions. So yes, you will be able to watch the webinar again. If you have minimal words on your site, how does that affect your SEO? So that's a very good question. So when we were talking about minimalism, how does that affect your SEO? It comes back to the topic of you have to make sure you optimize each and every word you do put on that website. So think about that when going for an minimalistic approach. Think about how you can make sure your website is still content rich through text, through images, through video, through social media, but also think about how you can use the minimal amount of that, but still make the biggest impact. So yes, if you have too little words on your website and you don't have any type of content, that will hurt your SEO in the long run, but that's why you have to make sure you you optimize each word you do have on your website. And then I have another great question here. Do animations increase the load speed though? So yes, they do increase your load speed just a little bit, which is why I recommend keeping simple animations. If you have simple fade in or slide in type animations, that's not going to take a super major effect on your load speed. But if you have animations like have the whirly twirly spin in type thing, yeah, that'll start to affect your website just a little bit. So try to avoid that if possible. And then so homepage, yes. Okay. So now we've got a question here. With the emphasis on Mobile Canyon, do a video on creating. So I'm going to try to get this question. With an emphasis on mobile. Oh, yes. Can I do a video? Yeah, I could probably do a video on creating a more colorful mobile menu. So the question was creating a more colorful mobile menu. Yeah, so mobile menus are definitely another big aspect of things here, because you want to make sure your website is optimized for mobile, as we discussed. So that also includes capturing someone's attention when they go to the menu as well. So the mobile menu from Wix is very boring and does not work very well. Yes, so I understand what you're saying there. I will do a video. I'll maybe even do a mobile website building series, just so you guys can see that and see how to optimize your websites for mobile on Wix. Does Wix have the chatbot option, or do I get that from Intercom and connect it? So Wix has a live chat, but it's not a chat bot. I get mine from Intercom, and Wix has thankfully built in, Wix code now, and you can now add in third-party integrations. In fact, if you watch my video on adding an Intercom chatbot, it's super, super simple to do. So I would get an Intercom chatbot and connect it to Wix through your tracking and analytics in your Wix dashboard settings. Okay, guys, so I've got about 2 minutes left of questions here, and then we're going to close up for today. So if you've got any more questions, go ahead and shoot them at me here in the chat. Thank you. And then also, I'd love to just share your opinions. Again, once we're done with the webinar, if you could take the time to just answer the poll at the end, that would be much appreciated. We've got a couple questions in the Q&A. Instead of video, could it be an image slideshow of my images? I'm a family portrait photographer. Yes, it absolutely can. You can use image slideshows. Just make sure it's a clean look. Don't have a bunch of borders and stuff on your slideshow. I would keep it a very clean and simplistic look, as we talked about minimalism. What are lighter fonts? Lighter fonts are literally right as they say in the word, just lighter fonts. So when you're looking at fonts, ones that are thinner are typically lighter fonts. Anything bold and bulky is bold and bulky fonts. Can you explain more about the chatbots? The main thing about the chatbots is, chatbots just give you the ability to start to optimize your conversions, maximize your productivity, and provide a cleaner, more organized system for when visitors write in your live chat. It gives them an easier way to communicate with your website. Technically, they're communicating with you, but it utilizes machine learning, so it starts to comprehend typical trends of how you talk with your visitors and starts to utilize that into having actual conversations with your visitors. So chatbots, I'm going to try to do a whole separate series about chatbots to explain it further, but definitely start utilizing them. Just go to intercom.com and you can check out what they have available as far as functionality and products go for their chatbots. It's pretty incredible. And then it looks like one of our last questions here: how does high graphics and multiple high quality videos impact page load times? Yeah, so this is a good question. It's a constant battle of, well, wait, I want high quality, and wait, I also want load times. What I can tell you guys for being on this webinar today, and this is a very big secret, so we'll keep it between us, is you can have both high quality videos and high quality graphics. Wix, if you're on Wix, is actually doing a major update on their whole system. I'm not going to tell you when. I'm just telling you it's coming. I know when it is, but I'm not allowed to say anything about it. And they will have the fastest websites on the internet. So that's just something cool to think about. So I wouldn't worry too much about that if you're on Wix. And then one of our last questions: I've been putting off working on my homepage. Is it okay to just have a video with some text? Yes and no. So like, it depends. You want to, again, if you want to optimize your conversion rates, have some sort of conversion method on there. Even if it's a button to click something to convert somebody, you can have a big video and you can have some text, but I would still design out a homepage under it. I would still have more oomph and more content to your homepage. You want to keep it minimalistic, but you also want to keep someone's attention. If that's all they see on your homepage, it might drive them a little bit. So that's where you want to be careful just a bit there. Yep, I'm just going through here making sure I answered all of them. We're done with that one, done with that one. Okay, guys, so it appears that I answered all the Q&A questions. So one last time, does anybody have any final thoughts, questions, anything like that? Whoops. Okay, we've got another one here with one-on-one service. Do you think chatbots work? Sounds like they shoot large quantity sales. So here's my thing about that. Technically, when someone comes to your website and they're not, they're not a client yet, they're still a visitor. So you have to do everything in your power to present a good message, to be on top of things. I think chatbots work in every scenario, whether it's one-on-one sales in a one-on-one service or large quantity sales. It doesn't really matter. It's that first interaction that takes place that's the most important, that first interaction, that first impression. So if you're selling services like a lawyer, how do you use the chatbot? So typically, in this case scenario, you're not going to literally sell over the chatbot for like lawyer services or law services. What you're typically going to do is you're going to get them to either opt in and put their email, and the chatbot will do that, or the other thing is you'll get them to direct to a phone number. So you'll get the chatbot will direct them to call a phone number and then have a conversation with maybe that law office or that law team via the phone. But because the chatbot was there, it kind of got that person to do that. So to increase your conversions. And Michael, would you have less content on your mobile site than your desktop? Yes, I would if it's too much. If you have a ton of content on your desktop, don't have as much of that on your mobile. Keep your mobile site clean, keep it organized. But if you can fit all of your content in a very clean, organized manner, well, then keep all the content on your mobile site too. It comes down to what looks good, what looks clean, and what gets the job done. Again, if you can keep the mobile site clean while maintaining the same content that's on your desktop, then do that. But if not, remove the content that's not as necessary. And then yes, sounds like every word counts. Every word does count. And then make sure you obviously put the most important details on your mobile site, quick actions, mobile conversions, stuff like that. All right, everyone. So that's it for today's 2019 web design trends you need to know. I really hope this was valuable for everyone. If you enjoyed it, feel free to share it when it's on YouTube. Check it out again. Go back to it, reference it. I appreciate you all spending time with me here on this webinar. If you have any questions whatsoever, just let me know. Head over to wixtrainingacademy.com and get into the Wix Training Academy. Everything's free webinars, free training content, all that good stuff if you haven't already. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate everyone. Don't forget to take the poll following this. Thank you very much. So glad I could help. And that is it for today. Guys, again, I appreciate you. I hope you all have a fantastic day. And if I don't have the opportunity to speak to you individually beforehand, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to everyone that is celebrating this year. Again, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you guys on our next videos.